Welcome to the Mojo Market Report. Here's your hosts, Dave Sturchio and Chris
Welcome
Gueci.
everybody to the Mojo Market Report right here on a Monday morning, a football Monday morning. Your host, of course, Dave Sturchio and Chris Gueci. A5, Anthony behind the glass, coming to you from Chop Studios. Listen, what a day. We had ourselves another day. And first, before we get into anything else, we gotta give a special shout out to members of Mojo Nation yesterday. I'm deeming it that. I don't know if there's a nation, maybe Mojo, New Jersey, whatever. Before you know it, it'll be a nation. Yesterday was fun, man. We went out there. We attacked MetLife Stadium. We interviewed a bunch of people, met a lot of people. It's a good time, man. Good time.
I had to get the Sunday scaries out of the way. The first couple were a little rough. This dude was... I can't believe how drunk Jet fans got at 9 a.m., dude. We got there at 9:30, and people were hammered already, but it was a great time doing some Mojo things, handing out free stocks. Anybody that we talked to yesterday, check your email later on. You're going to get some free shares up to 10 grand. So it's a good thing happening there. And we gave out some merch.
Yes.
Fun times.
We gave out some merchandise, and we had a great time. And when you bring up the fact that they were like, in a little intoxicated by that, it would have been a lot easier had we partaked. I was
surprised. It took like 10 or 15 tailgates before anybody offered an adult beverage. Right. It's like, it's 9:30. I turned it down. Yeah. I couldn't do it because I had...
We had work to do.
I had some work to do.
We had the work
nonetheless,
to do.
Let's get into
how
some...
about the service at MetLife? Whew, you want to talk about panic? I was like, hey, man, you got to check out this app. And then the app I was like, none of my apps are working right now.
For future reference, right now, you have to get a Wi-Fi situation if you want to day trade during the Jets tailgates, all right? So if you want to day trade on the Mojo app, you're going to have to get the Wi-Fi situation rectified.
Yeah, so the reason why, I before we get into the top movers and stuff like that, I gotta say a thank you to the Denver Broncos for keeping me up that late for that performance. That was brutal.
Well, you didn't like it?
No. And you know what's funny? Last year when remember the wind game with Mac Jones and like 2 pass attempts, and I was like, what a good game of football because it's so in the dirt and the trenches. This one was hard to watch, man. They paid him a lot of money, man. They need to right the ship. They had like one drive, and I was like, all right, that works. But then overall, I was like, good.
We could
Lord,
talk at length about Russ, but there's some real glaring issues with how that offense is humming right now. Nathaniel Hackett. We could talk at length about how bad Nathaniel Hackett's been, and consequently, Russ is kind of reaping the rewards or lack thereof because that offense is so stale. You look around, the sum of all parts, they look like they should be humming on offense. They have I guess their offensive line isn't really playing that well, but nonetheless, let's get into some top movers. I could talk shit about Russ all day.
I know you could. Let's ride. Top movers, obviously, is a segment that we always bring up, usually throughout the course of the week, but specifically on Mondays because, boy, oh boy, was there a lot of movement yesterday. And like I said, I don't like to humbly brag about my portfolio because I don't want to do that here.
Guys, he does not.
I don't like to do that at all.
If he just takes the word humbly out, then it all makes sense. He doesn't like to humbly brag, but he does like to brag a little bit about his portfolio.
Listen, all you got to do is watch this show every day around 9:30 on Mojo's YouTube channel, and you'll find out the little nuggets that we drop, little seeds, a little what do you call it? What am I? Crumbs. There we go, crumbs. That you trail, and all of a sudden, my thing is, bro. When I checked today, it's like up 98%. From what I invested, like 90.
Got some multipliers happening over there.
Oh, baby. We'll talk about one right now. In regards to one of his receivers, I did invest heavily into Jalen Hurts. He may or may not have made Devonta Smith a top mover yesterday. So Devonta Smith goes absolutely ham yesterday. Unbelievable game. The Eagles are humming right now, man. And humming might be the
humming. We have a word of every single show.
That might be the
humming
day.
Is today's word.
That might be the day.
The Eagles offense is humming.
Devonta Smith goes for 12. He gets 12 targets, which is the most important thing because he's getting the ball over there. Even AJ Brown got involved. Everybody got involved in this game. But on 12 targets, he does rack in 8 catches, 169 yards, and a touchdown. Guy, he averaged 21 yards a catch. Like the dude. Did you see the Batman cape by any chance? What was that about?
Man, these guys are having fun.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
He's not Batman.
I'm all for it. He's not Batman, but when he got up for that one ball, it looked like he was Batman.
He did look like
he was like 12 feet off the ground. Look, I talked a little bit about Devonta Smith this week, and he hadn't really had any involvement in the offense. I expected that to change, and the Eagles' offense obliged. The only issue that I have with the Eagles right now is that their first half is usually like they blow up on the first half, and then the second half they get way too conservative.
Yeah.
You could combine that with the fact that maybe a conservative approach in the second half, but also teams make adjustments. The thing about the Eagles, a lot of Eagles fans yesterday talking like, oh, we need to see a complete game. I mean,
well,
you're 3-0.
Here's the thing, and playing devil's advocate, aka Cowboys fan, I want to show you that the first 3 quarterbacks that they faced, are Jared Goff, last week Kirk Cousins in primetime, and Carson Wentz. So their defense hasn't been tested yet, so that's why everybody's kind of. If you're an Eagles fan and you're pumping the brakes a little bit, I understand. If you're sitting there flying high and you're doing the Eagles, then you're a little ahead of yourself.
Everybody should be very, very excited if you're an Eagles fan. But anyway, let's talk about how these games affected the Mojo Market yesterday. Devonta Smith shot up. I feel like the Eagles, you're going to get a lot of this all year based on the fact that you could say, okay, they've played 3 games and they haven't really played anybody yet. But if you look ahead at the Eagles' schedule,
it's
the most favorable schedule in the whole league.
It's
so
cupcake.
you could expect more of the same. The poor schedule through 3 weeks. Look at their schedule, Dave. I'm sure you're aware. You're an NFC East fan. It's more of the same going forward. I expect the Eagles to be a fun team to be involved with in the Mojo app all year long. You might have a little bit of hiccups along the way, but this offense will be, what's it going to be?
Humming.
It's going to be humming all season long, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, no doubt on that.
All right, so Devonta Smith and the Eagles go to 3-0. Congratulations to all you Eagles fans out there getting excited about a powerful offense. Now, shifting on over to the NFC North, we're talking about a guy that blew up on my fantasy bench because why would I start him? Because David Montgomery is the starter. We'll talk about Montgomery in a second and his stock, but Khalil Herbert, my goodness, what an absolute monster day he had yesterday. He rushed 20 times, 157 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. He also gets 2 targets in the air and catches both of them for 12 yards. Obviously, he gets this because of the fact that Montgomery went down, right? And we'll talk about Montgomery, like I said, in a second. But is he the better back? Like, I watched him run yesterday. We watched him run against Green Bay. He seems to be a little bit more versatile than a Montgomery. Is that something you can get behind?
I disagree.
As far as his stock price, it's soared.
I disagree that he's more versatile than Montgomery. Montgomery has been a solid pass catcher out of the backfield. He's been pretty much the heart and soul of the Chicago Bears offense since he's been there. There is a little bit about his yards per carry over the course of the couple seasons, but it's a lot to do with his offensive line play and the fact that he's facing a stacked box in his entire career. His goal line usage is really good. And there was a lot of talks in the preseason about how Herbert might actually be the better fit in the offense, in the Eberflus offense. But they were saying that even after week 1, and then week 2 was Green Bay, and Khalil Herbert didn't really see the field much. He had 1 chunk gain. It was all David Montgomery. If David Montgomery is healthy, which if you could pull up the David Montgomery graphic now.
That one, obviously, it's the other way around for Montgomery because of the injury.
If David Montgomery is healthy, he's going to be involved in the Bears offense.
Right.
There's no question about that. Khalil Herbert, he's going to have some splash plays here and there, but as long as Montgomery's good to go, he's going to be the bell cow. Now, I just want to talk about it in relation to, you could see how things, there's a yin and the yang all the time in the Mojo Market. So, and you were talking about not being able to start David Montgomery. That's the beauty of the Mojo Market, because if you had, let's say, I have faith in a correction. See, you didn't start Khalil Herbert, but if you own him or you're invested in him in the Mojo Market, it's almost like a best ball situation. You don't have to wait for the injury and hold him, and you don't make the points.
That's
like you automatically get the points. It's like, oh, I didn't have to start him because they're all starting, and that's the beauty of it. That's one of the nuances that I love.
That's also my stance on a Kenny Pickett. Like I have him; he hasn't seen the field yet, but I just know it's coming.
We got some good stuff later on in the week about some future risers, because there's some coming. There's some guys that are in line to get an opportunity very soon, which we'll talk about later in the week. But
absolutely, but more importantly, for the Bears' sake, they're 2-1 now. So
I know,
I know you're bugging over there because you got 3 teams over there in the NFC North at 2-1. But speaking of the NFC North, let's stay there. Let's stay there. And what was supposed to be I'm going to put in air quotes, game of the week, because it really wasn't. I mean, look, if you're a defensive specialist and you like defensive play, this is the game for you. If you like air raid, high scoring offenses, this one was horrible. The Packers get the win over the Bucs, but more importantly, Romeo. Again, we spoke about this already. You've alluded to this for a week straight, basically, that Romeo Dobbs was going to be the guy when push came to shove and Aaron Rodgers has to fall in love with a new receiver. this guy might be the guy. Because everybody, I didn't even know. Like, up until game time, like, Watson was out. Like, these guys, I feel like they were ruled out last minute, unless I'm completely, not in the Packers media or anything like that. But, like, I feel like when Dobbs got the targets that he was getting early and often, I felt like I was like, where's everybody else? And I didn't even realize that they were both out.
Sammy Watkins got IR'd.
Yeah, that's
and
big.
And then Christian Watson was ruled out, I think, late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. I woke up to the news. So Aaron Rodgers is looking for a new young receiver to step up and fill the void that Devontae left. It might take a couple guys to fill that void because there's like 2,000 targets to go around right now. But the Packers aren't really going to be throwing the ball much. When they do, though, I would like to get them to get Romeo Dobbs involved a lot more in space. This guy, he's a playmaker. You saw it yesterday.
He is.
What you saw that one drive where he had 4 catches and he ended up punching in with the touchdown. Look, there's, like I said, a lot of targets in Green Bay to go around. There's I think 190 targets that Devontae had last season. So that's got to be dispersed. I know they're going to run the ball a lot more this year because of the personnel. Cobb eventually probably going to see an injury or two. These young receivers for the Packers, they believe in them long term. And with Dobbs, he was drafted in the 4th round, I believe. So 4th round value, you could possibly see this guy being the number 2 in Green Bay, or even work himself as the number 1 over the next 2 or 3 years. 100%, I'm a buy and hold on a Romeo Dobbs right now.
I'm a buy and hold on anybody associated with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's going to find you eventually. Even Tanyan had himself a decent day. He got the ball a lot. Just so a side note on Dobbs. 8 targets, 8 receptions. So, he didn't drop anything. Like, you build confidence with a guy like Aaron Rodgers, he will feed you as much as you're willing to be fed. So, it's a good situation to be in if you're an investor in Romeo, because the kid's going to keep eating, and it seems like he's carved out a nice role there. Like, they have their constants. Like, again, I almost texted you yesterday during the game. I did text you. That's like a sacrilege. Like, we don't text each other during each other's respective games. Like, just doesn't happen. It's just not right. But I was gonna say, man, is there a better, more reliable receiver in the NFL? I'm going NFL wide than Randall Cobb. The guy is always there. He's always catching balls. I mean, look, he's not the most skilled anymore.
I get
he's
it.
Lost a step or two.
I get the sentiment you're trying to make here. No, he's not. But Randall Cobb does have a lot of value, specifically on 3rd down. And
right. I mean, it just seems like he's always there.
Not Randall Cobb again.
Right.
Yeah, Randall Cobb again. Of course it is.
Yes, Randall Cobb.
Just wanted one more quick side note about the Packers game. And
go on.
The Bucs,
sound off.
The Bucs offense is going to be a lot that looked.
That was tough to watch.
They had no receivers. Those guys will be fine over there, and they're going to be there late. But also, don't let the Tampa Bay's defense pour too much cold water on the Packers running game. That is also here to stay, I believe. So while those guys might not have performed well yesterday, they're going to be there all year long.
Doghouse Aaron Jones for the fumble or no? No doghouse for Aaron Jones?
He had 200 yards total against the Bears a week ago. Stop. He's going to be fine.
About a week ago. All right, so the Packers get that done. Yeah, you got to clean that up. So there was another situation in the quarterback department yesterday, as we see the stock has risen on or fallen on a Mac Jones to start things off. I kind of said this going into this game. I said this going into the season. Mac Jones, to me, seems to be the guy that everybody fell for last year. But as this team gets older, as this coaching staff gets older, I feel like there's a little bit more of a hesitation for me to get involved in a Mac Jones. And the ceiling could be, astronomical if it gets some people down there to throw the ball. Mac Jones has not been set up for success with this offense.
Not one bit.
Except for your boy Devontae Parker.
Devontae Parker, which was an amazing stream yesterday. I'm not here to pat myself on the back, but what a stream play that was. But anyway, Mac Jones hasn't been given the opportunities because if you look, they're not running the same offense that they ran last year. We had all this talk all offseason about Matt Patricia and Joe Judge being like the co-offensive coordinators, and guess what? It's showing. I did think the Patriots would have some ability to score points yesterday, and they did oblige, but it didn't look pretty. And through 3 weeks, the optics aren't good. There's no play action. They're not doing things the same. They're running the ball a lot and effectively, and that's always going to be the case. But in terms of getting Mac Jones comfortable and doing what he's going to do, the Patriots were dead last in the league through 2 weeks in play action on 1st and 2nd down.
Really?
Guess what they were in the year before?
Hold on. Dead last.
First.
Wow. All right. So there you go, coordinators. Maybe you should just go back to the game script that almost won you the AFC.
It might have been second. It might have been
whatever.
Second. But you get the
regardless.
point. They're not doing the same things that made Mac Jones succeed last season, and they have to get back to doing that. It's curious to me because the run game is working, and you would expect the play action to work off of that. But you need to give this guy a better situation. You need to give him more opportunities to get out of the pocket without having to. The offensive line's been good too. It's crazy to me, but
it's maybe.
It's
And I'm not saying this. I don't want to put the whole kibosh on the Mac Jones thing.
Mac.
But maybe he's just not that good. I don't know, man.
No,
maybe he's not an NFL quarterback. Listen,
stop it.
I even said it last year. There was games or flashes of good. Yes, I get it. But this year he looks lost,
No.
and now he's hurt.
No. It's normal for a guy in his second year to make a little bit of a regression because two things happen in this
Never
league.
happened to Dak Prescott.
Two things happen in the league. Yes, it did. Two things happen. One is that you take the league by storm, and nobody really knows what your capabilities are. I think Mac Jones took some people by surprise with his ability last year.
Sure.
And then what happens is you start to garner some respect from the defenses and the coordinators around football, and they get a full off season to watch what you got going on.
Right.
Now it's going to be up to Mac Jones to readjust, but he hasn't had help from his coaching, and I know that's crazy to say because it's Belichick, but Mac Jones doesn't play defense, so. That's where Belichick does.
So now with the injury, we obviously the extent of this is being listed as almost like a day-to-day type situation right now. But somebody's stock did rise because this is the kind of stuff you got to look out for. You have to look out for rising stocks because of injury, and it might be Brian Hoyer season. And look, I say this tongue in cheek because look. We know what Brian Hoyer is. We've seen Brian Hoyer play for the last 47 years. Okay, he's been around the league forever. He's a journeyman. He's capable of getting things done, and clearly his price dictates that he's just, I'll be there for a minute.
Look, Brian,
right? Like
Brian Hoyer is a prime example of how amazing it must be to be like a top 60 quarterback in the world because he's just been in the league forever. He's not good at it, but
he's good at it. He's top 60.
Just good enough
right.
to stick around and be a Patriot. It probably has like 13 rings somehow, right? Brian Hoyer, the success story of America right here.
Yeah, right. Seriously.
And look, he's getting to give it a go right now. Who do they play next week? Do we know?
Green Bay.
God, you're dead, dude. You are done, Hoyer. This is your final game.
Yeah.
No. But really,
wait,
guys,
don't they have another rookie that wears like number 55? Zappy? What the hell is his name? Zappy.
Bailey
Something.
Zappe?
Yeah, I had it here.
Yeah, he's not. I hope he plays.
Oh, that would be
actually.
fantastic.
I actually got some low-numbered cards of Bailey Zappe. And
Zappy rocking number
some breaks.
55, bro. Like that's I don't know. That's hilarious.
That's good news, right? So no Mac Jones, 3-1. No, look, let's not pour all the cold water on Mac.
No.
The offense is not looking great, and maybe you have a little bit of trepidation going forward because there is so many more exciting guys out there that you may want to invest in. So I'm not really bullish on Mac right now. I'm a little bit out on him. And the injury doesn't have much to do with it. It's just the offense in general looks very vanilla.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's other guys that we haven't mentioned. We don't want to brush over everybody because there's obviously a lot of movement in a whole Sunday football day. There was a lot on the was it Hollins from Las Vegas. He had himself a day. He had 10 targets, 8 receptions, 158 yards, and a touchdown. The question I have quickly, I mean, it just to put you want to talk about pouring cold water on stuff. He has himself a day. But, like, it's still Devonta's team. It's still Hunter Renfro season. You know, like, this guy, yeah, he might have blown up for a day, but I don't really foresee him taking too much of the chunk of the targets, right? I mean, that's not a thing.
No, I mean, it was nice to see a young, I say young, he's 29, I believe, so he's not really young. He's been around for a little bit.
In football, that means you're ancient at this point.
But, you know, you saw the Cordero Patterson coming of age, but Cordero Patterson had a little bit bigger of a name for himself already. Mac Hollins, I've not heard too much about through his career. I don't expect we're going to see many more games like that out of Mac Hollins. And Renfro was dealing with the concussion thing, so there was probably a little more abundance of targets going around. And they were down early, and they had to throw every single play. So no, I'm no.
Okay.
No.
Actually, no.
Good story though.
Yeah, great story.
Cool story.
Another injury that was going into this week. We were kind of curious to know about it. Was a Gabriel over at Buffalo. He gave it a go, right? But Isaiah McKenzie.
Did he though?
No, and on the stat sheet, no. But he was there, and he was present, and he suited up. But when you look at Isaiah McKenzie, who got 9 targets from Josh Allen for 7 receptions, 76 yards, and a touchdown, is McKenzie somebody that you might want to give a gander at as far as his price probably being low right now?
Yeah. Look,
Because Allen's going to spread the ball out too.
You're going to get some action out of all Buffalo pass catchers. But again, like I'm talking, you may want to kick some money onto McKenzie and invest a little bit because he's probably super low. But there's going to be games where he's absent too because he is essentially the fifth man down the line. I think Singletary will probably end up getting
he had a monster day too.
End up getting a similar target share as the fourth receiver, if not more. So. You got Dawson Knox in the red zone. McKenzie, nice player, but he might need some more seasoning before I'm in on him or a better situation to arise. But before we move off of this and get into the Monday night game, which I know you're excited about, we got to at least address the quarterbacks from that Chargers-Jaguars game.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking a little bit of rack on Trevor Lawrence a little bit.
Stairway to heaven, he says.
No. I was talking good about Herbert, and I was talking a little bit bad about Trevor Lawrence, but it's more so because he just doesn't move the needle for me. He seems like his teammates look at him like, is this guy going to speak? He's so quiet and reserved, but guess
he
what?
seemed pretty pumped last night.
He did, but even that was a little bit cringe to me, if I have to be honest. But look, he balled out yesterday, and I am here to say that I usually don't do this. I usually stick to my guns, but I watched a lot of that game yesterday, and Trevor Lawrence looks really good.
I mean, look, he looks out
really
of college. Good. The kid's being touted as the next Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, all these crazy comparisons. So you're just waiting for it to happen. And they had a hackadoodle-doo of a head coach last year, Urban Meyer, and then they changed it over to Dougie P, who has worked wonders with quarterbacks as a former quarterback. So maybe this is the change of the guard for a guy like Trevor Lawrence. And if you want to get in on Trevor Lawrence, now's the time, and you got to hold on.
You could talk what you want about an injured Justin Herbert, which I will make that excuse because I do believe in Justin Herbert.
You see the rope he threw
Justin
across
Herbert's
his
a
body?
baller, and
unbelievable.
I think that people really right now, you could sit and talk about the injury, like I said, but you got to give credit where it's due. That's a really good Chargers defense. Jacksonville went on the road across the country in probably like the second furthest flight you could possibly make in the NFL.
It might even be shorter to go to London, to be honest with you.
And he balled out. And he's doing it with a supporting cast of receivers that we were talking a lot of crap about in the offseason with Christian Kirk's big deal. Christian Kirk's balling right now.
So is
and
half those other guys. They love Zay Jones over there. He's doing wonders too. They spent the money in the right places.
There's something about the James Robinson situation.
He is an RB1 right now, guys.
Back from a serious Achilles injury, and you look at his usage in college, and he's one of those guys that he got like 400 touches a year in college. They used him a lot. It was a smaller school, I forget where, but coming into the league, he hit the league running, and he's a guy that I just look at him like I don't see it. And
Until he does it.
I look and I'm like, oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. So yeah, I gotta maybe I gotta get on board with these Jaguars now because I'll tell you this. Looking at the share prices, I think Herbert's in the 60s. Lawrence is in the 60s. That's going to change very soon if he keeps playing that way. We know how the quarterbacks affect the market, and get him now because then you could increase this gain going forward. But yeah. I did a complete 180. Doug Peterson, great coach. Great. I do like Doug Peterson, though.
He's all right. I like post-Philly Doug Peterson. I do. I can get behind that.
I like pre-Philly Doug Peterson.
Oh, they're fun. Yeah, you're back up to the Packers forever.
Yeah, Jaguars are coming.
So he was a top 60 quarterback in the world for all that time?
The whole time, bro.
The whole time.
Top 60 quarterback in the world, and you get to be
64 if we're being fair. Like 60, whatever.
I mean, maybe half that time they probably didn't have the Panthers. And
that's true. That's very true. All right.
Texans.
One more game to go in week number 3, and that's the Monday Night Football extravaganza between the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Football Giants. Now, I, for one, if you thought I was tired today, I'm going to be really tired tomorrow. I will be attending this game, so I'll be back at MetLife, back-to-back days at MetLife. I don't know if that's ever happened in my life. Ever?
I found some business cards in my bag, like 10. I'll give them to you so you can
absolutely.
hand out some Mojo.
Oh, yeah, no. And actually, the members of Mojo that we met yesterday were telling us that they were going to be over at Red's in Carlstadt where my parking pass was. That's a story for another day. Just try to get the right. I'm like, why is this parking pass so cheap? This is so much fun.
Like, we have to go to the office, the studio, to print the parking pass. And I was like,
first of all, it's 2022. Why are we printing anything?
I just started scratching my head. And I was like, I'm not even going to get into this conversation. I'm going anyway. But guess what? We didn't print the parking pass.
Yeah, we did not print the parking pass. In fact, we got the wrong one. Anyway, like I haven't been to Giant Stadium or MetLife Stadium a million times. And as soon as I saw the low price, I was like, oh, Mojo stock up. Let me just cash in on this on his $40 parking pass. They're like, oh, by the way, you need to take a shuttle forever. Not doing that. Didn't do that. Giants Cowboys coming up tonight. Now, obviously, this game, Cooper Rush is the story coming in for the Cowboys as far as their quarterback and their offensive play. He is the story. Stop. He is. He's absolutely the story. He's the most winningest quarterback in NFL history. Highest winning percentage ever.
That's false.
Did you hear about who was telling me?
I feel like there's got to be some type of qualifier.
Was there somebody? Hold on. Somebody was telling me. It was Tony Catalina, my buddy Tony. He tells me that if Cooper Rush wins today, he'll be the first quarterback to go 3-0 in his first 3 starts since Kurt Warner. How about that? Something happened to Kurt Warner. He now wears a gold jacket. That's right. So Cooper Rush is a first ballot.
Run it back.
All right, fine.
Pretend like you didn't hear any of that.
So Cooper Rush obviously starting tonight for the Cowboys. The big news is, are you in on a guy like Michael Gallup coming back for the first time off ACL surgery? CeeDee Lamb is yet to get going. So, you worry about that. The tight end situation in Dallas, not that good right now. Dalton Schultz didn't practice all week last week, so it's very iffy to see if some of these kids. Now, look. As a joke, I drafted a couple of these kids in like deeper dynasty leagues, and then I actually invested money in Mojo in a guy like Ferguson, Jake Ferguson, their third tight end. He might eat tonight. I don't know. The Giants historically cannot cover a tight end
Dave
for the
is
life
like
of them.
A major preference player on Mojo, guys. He's like, I just like him, so I'm buying. I'm going to invest in his stock. I don't really care.
He seems like a cool
I interviewed
dude.
him once.
Yeah. No, that's the other one. That's Sean McEwen, and he's on the practice squad. Shout out to my boy Sean.
That is amazing.
But no, as far as this game is concerned,
CeeDee.
Yes, CeeDee Lamb. He hasn't shown out yet in the first 2 weeks. This might be the game to do it because of the attention.
Well, though.
He's consistent. I mean, the first week was just there was no offense, so the second week was fine. But when you look at this,
dealt with that defense. I could relate.
Yeah, well, exactly. So now I feel a little bit better about that. Like
we won ours though.
Oh, that's true. The Packers won that game. All right. Well, I digress with that one. But when it comes to this Cowboys offense,
too.
Zeke might eat. I've been saying it for 3 weeks now. This might be the game that he eats a little bit more.
I made the graphic, so he's eating.
Oh, he is eating.
And CeeDee's trying to give him the ball.
So here, have this. But that's as far as the Cowboys are concerned. The guy you want to pay attention to tonight, I think, is obviously the home run hitter that the Giants have in Saquon Barkley. The guy's been playing very well in the first 2 weeks of the season. He stays healthy through the first 2 weeks of the season. I'm knocking on wood for all you Giants fans out there that, don't want to see him go down as Anthony waves his hand because he's excited about this one. He's a Giants fan. How we brought him into the studio is beyond me. But, when you look at this Giants team, is that the only threat you're looking at as far as when it comes to the Mojo stock market? Like, is that something you're looking at, more of a Saquon performance?
I'm still a little worried about Saquon because while he does look really good, you're one play away with him. And just looking at his style this season, he looks like he's all the way back, I have to admit. Right. But
2 weeks.
It's only 2 weeks. It's a small sample size. I think the Dallas defense is going to show up today, and I think we're going to see a very defensive battle. So Mojo points or Mojo stock rising might be hard to come by in this game. If there is a guy that I think is going to shine, it is a one CeeDee Lamb. I like his matchup. I feel like they're going to line him up in the slot a little bit because if Gallup does come back, it frees up some things for the receivers. I don't think you're going to see much of Gallup. And, we talked about Saquon coming back off an injury. Gallup's coming back rather fast, no?
January. Yeah, so about 9 months.
He probably may need a little bit more time to get going, but they know what they're doing over there. It's not like he's not
it took
healthy
me 10 months to get back into something that I used to do. So, like an athlete, professional athlete, I think he's all right.
Well,
I mean, I'm not,
It's one thing to be back. It's another thing to be all the way back.
All the way
because
back.
you saw how Saquon wasn't all the way back. Like
this is true.
Certain times, if you're a receiver or you're a running back, not everyone could be as lucky as an Odell where you just bounce back from an ACL, you tear it again, and then you bounce back again.
It's serious.
And he's like literally about to bounce back again and go to the Rams.
What if he goes to the Packers? You never know. He's a Ram.
Let me get him.
So anyway,
CeeDee Lamb, I like his matchup. I think they're going to move him around. I don't know that the Giants defense is as good as advertised thus far. Dallas offensive line hasn't been playing that great, but they've also played some really good defensive fronts. So I think there's some things that the numbers are skewed a little bit on that. I feel like Dallas' defense is going to show up, so I'm not in on any of these guys. Maybe, just maybe Saquon because it's going to be a low-scoring affair, and I think that even the negative game script may allow him to catch a lot of passes.
Sounds like a plan. Go Cowboys.
I can't wait to actually cap this one.
I don't want to even remotely cap this one, or at least even get involved. I'm nervous as it is. These NFC East matchups they're never fun, and especially when you go to the game and you're in enemy territory. It's just a.
Do you know? And then this is, I like Brian Dable, and I don't like Mike McCarthy, and I think that's a big factor in this one. But I just still not much offense to come by in this one, and Micah Parsons. That defensive player stock is coming to Mojo very shortly. I promise you that. Hopefully, Micah's isn't at $3 million by the time it gets there. Because
just so everybody's aware, Micah Parsons tweeted out yesterday the Jordan flu game. So he's been sick last week.
So basically, that means sell all your Giants right now.
Right, because they're all going down.
Micah tweeted flu game.
He's coming. He's coming for bodies. It's a body count. So anyway, that is a show, ladies and gentlemen. It has been another great week of football. We're excited about the way the market's going to be moving all week long. As this week goes long, we will focus in on some positions. We will go deep diving.
Please, everybody, invest in Devin Duvernay. Please, I am begging you. This guy is a touchdown waiting to happen. He's got 4 now, 1 in all 3 games. I think he leads the league.
And 2 in different phases. Like he returned a kick.
Like I said, his pick 6 is coming. I promise you, Devin Duvernay, diversify with Devin. This is my guy. All right.
It seems to be that you're very excited about him.
Bye.
All right. Bye. So bye, everybody. For Dave Sturchio, Chris Gueci here at Chop Studios has been another episode of the Mojo Market Report. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's go.